In today's video, I'm going to be taking some macro photos with possibly the smallest, lightest and cheapest camera setup I've ever used. And I'll be taking shots just like these. So this is the camera, as you can see, small, easy to hold. I'll tell you a lot more about it, but first of all, let's actually go and find some photos. As I've been wandering along, I've been noticing these little shrubs at the side of the pathway. They've got these little ball-shaped flowers. I don't know if they're flowers or little berries coming through, but they look really, really sweet because they're a vibrant pink against the green of the leaves. So I think I'm just going to try and take a really simple shot of these. There's actually quite a few of them, so I can pretty much take my pick. I think I'm maybe going to start with this one. I quite like this one because we haven't got a lot of stuff behind it. So f3.5, I can nicely isolate it against its background. So what I'm actually using today is the Canon EOS M50. Now this is a little APS-C mirrorless camera that Canon released quite some time ago now, and I actually bought about 6 years ago, primarily as a video camera for starting this channel. Now, the main reasons that I wanted it is because it was so small, it was so lightweight, but it also had a flip-out screen. And really, those features still make it a really good little camera for shooting macro. So on the front of it, I've actually got an adapter that allows me to use my old Canon EF lenses, and I've got the 50mm macro on there, which I think is equivalent to about a 70mm on a full-frame camera. And as you can see, this is such a small and lightweight setup. It's super easy to carry around. It's really comfortable to get into awkward positions, particularly using the screen that allows you to get it low without having to crane your neck too much. And to be honest, I do think its image quality still looks great. I found a mushroom. Now I'm carrying a light at the moment. I might not need it. If I do, I'll tell you all about it, but I'm just going to pop it down over here for now. And I'm going to try and figure out where this mushroom looks best. Because I think maybe from this side, where I can look at it from a little bit lower down. Yeah, I really like this. I'm actually being able to get my camera at a much lower position than the mushroom itself because of the way that it's sort of on this little ridgy bit. And it means I can look right up at it, focusing on the gills underneath. f2.8, 100th of a second. I think that looks really cool. Again, we're really throwing that background out of focus. I'm just going to back away slightly and just raise the camera. I'm just trying to get like a nice line of the sort of green moss that it's sitting on, cutting through the bottom third of the frame, but still focusing on the mushroom itself. I think that looks really nice. I really like it as a landscape composition as well, particularly if I slightly back the scene up to be able to put the mushroom in the right third of the frame. I really, really like this. And at f2.8 we get lovely depth of field, so it's not too cluttered an image. The mushroom really stands out. Maybe I'll just try it again with the 100 to see if it makes any difference at all. Of course, I'm going to have to get slightly further away from it. Now I did say I brought a light. I don't think I need it because there's enough ambient light for me to get a reasonably bright image, but it's a bit flat is the problem. So I'm thinking if I brought in some of my own light, it would give a little bit more direction. And the light I brought is the Canon X100. It's relatively a small handheld LED light, and I've got this little softbox on the front that you can buy with it. Now this light does come with its own sort of battery pack handle thing, but in all honesty, it's crap. I've got two of them, both of those have died, but you can run it off USB-C, so I've got it with a power bank, and that actually does the job perfectly well. But normally I use these things in studio, but it can be quite good for working on location. I'm going to keep this in position. You know what? I'm actually going to put the... I nearly fell over. I'm going to put the 50 back on. It's a little difficult getting my angle with that 100. First of all, having that light there is going to allow me to turn my ISO right back down to its base, which on this camera is 200. And it's going to allow me to turn my shutter speed up to 2/50th of a second. And because being lit from the side, it's allowing some shadows to be formed on those gills and on the far side, which again just gives it a little bit more form and a little bit more presence in the scene. But because I'm just using LED, I can now leave the light in place and I can just sort of move the camera around and shoot away as much as I want. I really like how this looks on the LCD. Because we are actually getting the light shining into the lens, we're getting a little bit of sort of a lens flare misting effect in the upper left of the image. And I just think it looks really nice because it just looks so warm. It looks like we're taking this image at sunrise with golden sunlight pouring in through the forests. I think that looks gorgeous. Bit of lens flare isn't necessarily a bad thing. Ends up looking really quite cinematic, I think. I've come to the Three Locks Drive in the Queen Elizabeth Forest Park. It's always been one of my favourite places to explore for macro. It's basically mile after mile of trails through beautiful woodlands. You've got everything from the old growth trees to underlying mosses and shrubs, so there's often so much to actually come and find here. But the problem is that it is such a huge area that actually trying to find the small, tiny subjects that you want to point a macro lens at can be really tricky. So I tend to find that I go to similar spots that I have been to before. And what I like to do is sort of put my bag down and spend the time really trying to pay attention to these smaller areas and see if anything stands out. Ooh. Just think it looks quite nice. Little fly, hello. Can I get a little closer on you? The answer is yes, but it's got its arse pointing towards us. What if I very quickly try to get my 100mm on there before it goes? Is it still there? It is still there. Good news. Yes, now we're talking. Really close up on that fly now. So you can probably tell the sun has just come out and it's really overwhelming the scene. It'll almost certainly go back behind a cloud in a moment. There we go. I found another mushroom. I really like the look of it. It's in great condition. It's quite dark and we haven't got a lot of light down here. So I'm going to try and craft this scene a little bit more. But this is basically the mushroom as it is in the natural light. And I really don't mind it at all. It looks good. I do think it kind of stands out because we've got lots of the sort of upright green moss fronds, whatever they are, with the mushroom in between them. But I just think that lighting-wise, it does look just a tiny bit flat. So I'm going to take this as a natural light image, and then I'm going to see if by bringing in my own light, I can make this look a little bit more dramatic. So I'm going to bring in my LED light, which again, I've got powered off camera, and I'm going to put it right off to the side there, quite close up. So I think I'm going to change this up to the 50mm, because I think I'm having to get a little too far away with just the 100. Of course, remember that 50 isn't really 50 on this camera, 75, 70, something like that. But now, because we brought in that light off to the left, it's causing some great shadow, and I really think it's just helping make that mushroom stand out in those greens even more. F5.6, just for a bit of extra focus space on the mushroom. 400th of a second for my shutter speed now. Yeah, I think it looks good. Just adjusting my composition so we can see a little bit more of the mushroom stem. I think I found my favourite composition. Really had to sort of push the camera down into the moss a little bit to get this lower view looking up. but the way that we've got the light coming off from the left creates some really great shadows, and I think it helps the cap of the mushroom stand out nicely. But also we've kind of got some highlights in the background that again are just slightly pointing towards the mushroom, helping it stand out as the actual subject in the image. I really like how this looks. I'm f3.2. I'm going to turn my ISO down to its base. My shutter speed is at 6/40th of a second, focusing on the mushroom. I think the thing that's quite interesting then is that I actually totally forgot that I was shooting this on this tiny old camera. Because at the end of the day, trying to get a good shot, it doesn't matter what you're using. And I wouldn't have done anything differently then if I was taking this on my Canon R5 that I'm filming this video with. Well, that brings me to an end of today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed seeing how I would go about taking photos on this walk. And I really hope that you would agree that I haven't really been hampered by having something small and old. As always, you'll get better photos if you spend the time looking for better subjects and using your camera properly to take those photos. And I haven't wanted this video to be specifically about the Canon M50. I'm not suggesting you go out and buy exactly this camera and setup. It's more just about having you think about what it is that you actually require for your photography. Do you need to go out and spend thousands and thousands on the latest setup with a big full frame stabilized sensor? Or would actually looking for something that's much cheaper, or maybe even something you've already got in your cupboard, do the job just as well? And in a time when purse strings are tightening across the world, it's never been more important to try and make the most of the money you have. So maybe a cheaper setup like this could be just what you need. But thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, do please give it a like, and of course consider subscribing to my channel if you don't already, and I will see you next time.